Man United close out what has been a very positive pre-season on Saturday at 3:45 p.m. UK time when they face Ruben Amorim's AC Milan in Wrocław in Poland. I'm here with Matt Law, who is Sportsmole's football editor and Manchester United aficionado. He's been really enjoying Man United's pre-season so far. They've already won two major trophies in the Boyle Sports Cup and the Snapdragon Cup. Matt, obviously, I think it was the Boyle Sports Cup against Leeds, wasn't it? They won that match on penalties in Croke Park in Dublin. But did they deserve to win it in normal time? Because looking at the highlights, they had loads of chances in that game. Obviously, it was a really good finish from Xerxes. Arrington then sliced through the defence, but Mbermo hit the bar as well. There were quite a few chances for United. Did they deserve more than a draw in normal time, do you think?
Yeah, it was a game that Manchester United should have won in normal time. That's not coming from a biased point of view. The statistics will show that. The general play will show that. Whether you watch the whole game or whether you watch the highlights, there, Leeds equalised with Tyler Fletcher gave the ball away in a really poor area of the field. And in fairness, it was a good work from Dan James and Aronson on the score sheet, but it came very much against the run of play. Manchester United's goal was really good. Xerxes on the score sheet again. Brian Mbermo has been a real standout for Manchester United in pre-season. He's looks in really good shape at the start of the season. Obviously expecting him to play through the middle early on while Sesko fully recovers from his injury. But Xerxes is a really interesting one, considering obviously he's had some bad games in pre-season, but he's also had some really good ones, including this one. I gave him man of the match in this game. I did the post-match piece on it. He was really good on the ball. His finish was excellent. And it just makes you think, if United can't get a striker in that they want in terms of the backup for Sesko, is it worth keeping Xerxes? And he's probably changed my mind a bit. If you'd asked me to start pre-season, I'd have been like, he's got to go. But he has been a lot better, to be fair. He seems to be moving a bit better. He's obviously always been a good technical player, but I'm now probably leaning towards the camp of keep Xerxes and try and obviously get that left back in and that midfielder as well. But, it was, as you mentioned, Ben, two trophies. In my post-match piece in our verdict section, the first line for me was another trophy in the bag for Michael Carrick. They all count. So obviously Snapdragon Cup, Ball Sports Cup. And, penalties, it's always good to see, as you mentioned, Ben, with the Arsenal Como preview, even if it's a draw, it's always nice to win, isn't it? It's always nice to win on penalties. It's nice to see them find the back of the net. Obviously, Yuri Tielemans got on the score sheet for his first. Can you call it his first Man United goal in a pre-season shootout? I'm going to go there. It's his first Man United goal. Santos
Counting Guimaraes is in the Como match, so you can certainly count Tielemans'.
Listen, you've got to take what you can get. But, it's been the new signing. Andre Santos has been a real Michael Carrick did an interview with reporters in the Republic of Ireland during the camp and called Andre Santos a dream. He's been really complimentary of his performances. Have been really good. Obviously, United still need to get a few players back in and around the squad, but yeah, they deserve to beat Leeds. It was a good performance. Leeds were pretty good as well, to be fair. Leeds have had a good pre-season, as we know, were good in the second half of last season. They're a good team, Leeds. This isn't a team that Manchester United should have rolled over. It was a very, very competitive game, and it looked like a Premier League game, to be fair, for long stages, which is exactly what they'd want, both teams at this stage of pre-season. So yeah, good to obviously get the Boyle Sports Cup and the Snapdragon Cup in the bag in pre-season.
I'm now thinking we should do a separate podcast on the worst trophy names, the worst pre-season trophy names. But if you're counting the Boyle Sports Cup and Snapdragon Cup, then you can't say that Arsenal have won a tin pot trophy when we win the Community Shield. But like I say, that's in our Arsenal Man City preview, so go and watch that if you haven't already. But you mentioned players there like Xerxes, who you are now leaning into the camp of keeping. Does he fit into, well, firstly, will we see what best resembles Man United's strongest starting lineup in this game? And, does that include a certain Marcus Rashford? And does that also include a Joshua Xerxes as well?
Yeah, really interesting one, Ben. Obviously, I do think the team for this one, as you say, will reflect what Michael Carrick has in mind for the first game of the season. Harry Maguire was rested last time out, but no injury problems. It was a case of pre-season minutes, so he'll come back into the team. Bruno Fernandes, Yuri Tielemans, Luke Shaw, and Cunha could all potentially come in for starts. Carrick is very hopeful that Kobbie Mainoo, Lisandro Martinez, Marcus Rashford, obviously who haven't played in pre-season, will be involved in the squad, and potentially Benjamin Sesko as well. Sesko has been, there's reports of him coming back, and then he's coming back and he's not in the squad, and then he's back for the next game and then he's not in the squad. Can they get him back for this game? Obviously, he's been with the players. He's been training. Can they get him some minutes? They're the four that haven't played, of the first teamers, if you like, Kobbie Mainoo, Martinez, Rashford, Sesko, that haven't played in pre-season yet. Mason Mount obviously was out last time out. Obviously picked up that injury against PSG. We don't know how serious it is. I think it's a minor foot injury. It's more of an impact injury. So interesting to see whether he's involved. As I mentioned, Andre Santos has been really good. I think he is an absolute shoo-in to start of the season. I expect him to start again here. So yeah, when I did the team for this game, I'll run through it very quickly. I think it might be Senna Lamans, Dalot, Maguire, Heaven Shaw, Tielemans, Santos, Ahmad Fernandez, Cunha, and Burmo. I think that looks like, and to be honest with you, if that team started the start of the season against Hull, would be surprised. I think that would be, if you're asking me about Marcus Rashford, I think Rashford can get himself in the squad for the first game of the season. I would be staggered if he got thrown in, because I don't think he's going to start this game. I think if he plays, it will be off the bench. The same with obviously the other players that haven't played yet. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really interesting team. I think it'll be a team that does very, very close, if not exactly the same as the one that's going to start the start of the season. And yeah, Man United have had a good pre-season, as you mentioned, Ben. It's been some good. We started really poorly against Wrexham, but since then the performances have been really good against some really good teams, which is what they'd want. No injuries. Obviously, Mason Mount is the one that. Obviously, Tom Eaton had a hamstring as well. Still no really indications how serious that is, but they've got Senna Lamans back now to start in goal, so that's not. And Carl Darlow's been backing in around it as well. So, looking positive to Man United. Obviously, as we know, that doesn't translate to really good starts to the season. So I don't want to get too carried away, but atmosphere seems good. The players seem, obviously Rashford's been well received. The suggestions are that he's been, happy and smiling and engaged in training and enjoying being back around the club. Obviously, still a chance he could leave. It's not absolutely certain that he stays with the club. Looking very, very likely, but as we know in football, you just never know, do you?
Yeah, and the Rashford subplot is one of the big subplots for this game, and linked with that, the Ruben Amorim subplot is huge as well. Not just because of what happened between him and Rashford, but look, he's at AC Milan now. He's yet to win in pre-season. They drew with Celtic and Inter Milan. They lost to Chelsea 3-0 last time out. Look, you saw a lot of Amorim's Man United he was there for just over a year, wasn't he? Like 14, 15 months. He was there. Just, do you think he is a good manager, Ruben Amorim? Look, he came from Sporting Lisbon. He'd done so well there, won a couple of league titles. He'd caught the eye of Liverpool as a potential Klopp successor. Yes, it didn't work out for him at Man United. Accusations that maybe he was too stubborn, but then again, United bought players for the Ten Hag system, which was different to the Amorim system. Just what is your overall take on Amorim as a manager? Do you just think he is a good manager or not?
It's a really difficult one, but as you mentioned, you look at his Sporting Lisbon, 71% win rate at Sporting Lisbon, over 231 games, which is really, really good. But his win rate at Man United was just literally over 38%, 38.1%, 24 wins, 18 draws, and 21 defeats for Man United in 63 games. And that 2024-2025 season, when he came in November, and then obviously Man United finished 15th in the Premier League, was, you talk about obviously difficulties since Sir Alex Ferguson left, and that was a real bad one for that stage of the season. I think United fans were patient with him, as patient as they could be, but it just got to the stage where the performances were so bad, the system just did not work. Sometimes it just didn't work, like the system, and Amorim's in a corner at the stage of the club where he either throws it away and completely loses his own identity in terms of a manager in changing the system, or he just sticks with it and ultimately knowing it's probably going to lead to him leaving. And it's a really big job. This is a big club at AC Milan. And if this goes wrong, which it could do, where does he go from here? Obviously, he's going to have, I still think he's young enough and he's got enough, he's obviously a really good coach. He's obviously got good ideas, and at a certain club, it'll work. At Sporting Lisbon, if he'd have had his time again, would he have just stayed at Sporting? Obviously, it's very difficult to turn down Man United, and no one's suggesting no one in that position for me would be able to turn down Man United. You can't in that situation. So I think he's a good manager for the right club. I just don't think he's adaptable enough to be. If you're asking me, do I think he'll do well at Milan? I don't think he will. You look at the squad at Milan, it's more suited to his formation than Man United were in terms of the players he's got, but still a lot of uncertainty. Milan spent big money on Ramos, didn't they, from PSG this summer? Huge money. And if he doesn't go well for him there, he's obviously pressure on him to find the back of the net. Obviously, Rafael Leao, who's out of this game through injury, has been linked with a move away. Will he stay at the club this summer? Luka Modric in midfield. AC Milan have got a lot of good players, but I'm finding it difficult to see him really having a massive impact on that club, considering obviously his struggles. His confidence would have taken a knock. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He's obviously a confident guy, but there's behind closed doors, it has to affect you, all that, someone who he knows that he'd have got ridiculed late on but the fans stuck with him for as long as they could at Man United, and he has said that. He praised the Man United fans, obviously, in his not too long ago, saying that they were with him, but ultimately didn't work. So this is a really interesting part of his career now, Ruben Amorim, and I do hope he does well, because I think he's a decent guy, and I do think he did really want to do well at Man United. It didn't work, which is just obviously some things just don't go the way that he would have expected it to. But I hope it does work for him, because I do want him to have a really good managerial career. But I think we could be looking at, in a few months, a stage where AC Milan might be thinking, might have to move him on.
Yeah, lots of pressure on him to get this one right. But if I was to push you for a very quick score prediction, do you think Man United will get one over Amorim, or will Amorim get one over Man United?
Yeah, I went 3-1 in my preview, 3-1 Man United for this game, which do check that out on Sportsmole. I went through. I just think you look at the Milan team, Man United have got players in good form, good back. I just see United winning this one. I don't think the Milan team is particularly great. Obviously, Loftus-Cheek, Espinun, Modric. They've got, Leao was obviously out now, as you mentioned, but Ramos will probably come in. Got Chukwueze in the team. It's a good team. It's a good Milan team, but obviously you talk about the Milan teams in the past. It's just nowhere near it, isn't it? They're miles away from being, challengers for the Champions League and challengers for the biggest trophies, which obviously they've been known. They're such a big club, such a proud club, a really massive powerhouse, but they're just not the same they were. So yeah, I think Man United do win this game. Yeah.
Yeah, using AC Milan like FIFA 05, FIFA
Oh,
07. Those were the days, mate. Cafu, Nesta, Inzaghi, Kaká, Dida. We could go on. We'll just do a retro FIFA podcast one day. Just bring back the memories for all of our viewers of a certain age. Anyway, thank you, Matt, as always, for your expertise. And as Matt did my job for me, make sure to check out the preview on sportsmole.co.uk and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our transfer preseason or actual season podcasts. Take care, guys.